about the last little bit here from Coach Billy Napier, where he talked about attrition and how they plan to handle it and how they're handling the NIL. And he kind of gives a little tidbit here on what he's expecting to happen with the attrition. Take a listen.
The portal change, do you think, the patience that schools have with their coaches because there's so many players coming and going? And how does that change perspectives, do you think, on patience with coaches?
You know, I think it's just more coverage, right? It's more drama. You know, I think it's just another element to strategy, right, relative to what you're going to do. You know, I think, and it's new, right? So there's not a huge sample size of evidence relative to what works and what doesn't work. I do think that, you know, our game continues to evolve, and it's important that you keep up. You know, I think there's an element to that, you know. But ultimately, we've got conviction about how we do it. We're gonna do. I think it's much like the National Football League. In my opinion, you're talking about you want to build your team through the draft, you know, and you want to each offseason you're evaluating the depth on your team, the impact players, the immediate. Where do you need immediate presence, and that's the NFL free agency model, right? So I think we're living in a world that's very much the same, you know. So you throw NIL into that equation, and now you're living in a salary cap model, right? You know, the problem is we have no contracts. You know, our drafted players have no contracts. You know, I'd like to know that we had them for 4 or 5 years.
And then he goes on to say again, look, usually at a time like, you know, a couple of years ago, you would expect maybe half a dozen to enter into the portal. I would expect, you know, more than a half a dozen. And he kind of alludes that, look, there's going to be somebody who said, look, if you're on the fence about being here, maybe you shouldn't be here. And he goes, there's some guys that we have a feeling we know they're going to leave. We're okay with that. But then you're also going to be surprised as well who may enter into the portal. And that's just, again, that's the world we live in right now. And you always have to be prepared. So it's reassuring answers like that of, you know, we as fans, we get a little worked up, we panic, but you have to understand this is part of the game, and it's more so than it ever is. Because obviously the noise of, you know, a few of our players like ETN, Eugene, those names have been being tossed around to possibly enter into the transfer portal. I'm not worried about those guys. I feel like they're having breakout seasons. They're doing a phenomenal job. I think they still know the writing on the wall. They also came in understanding what to expect to a certain extent. So I wouldn't get too worked up about it. But again, great questions from the reporters today, kind of poking the bear a little bit, trying to get an idea. And, you know, it's none of it's a surprise, which I guess is a good thing to Billy. You know, he's expecting it. Maybe it's him trying to also prepare for winter is coming. I had that in our video today, preparing us for what will be. Because, look, last year, and I said this on Sunday show, when we had 23 guys in the transfer portal, it was a lot, but we were so fed up with the team, we were like, good riddance. Now look at us. We're like, damn, we wish some of them guys should have stayed. You know what I'm saying? So we're at a point now, if guys leave, we don't feel like we have the ability for guys to leave unless, you know, Florida has a plan to go out into the portal and be extremely active. That's the only thing that I see here. If we see, because we saw a lot of attrition going outwards, we didn't see the refill coming back in, right? That was the issue. If we see the same amount of going out, I want to see matching or then some coming back in. That would make me feel a lot better. So if anybody's got a weak stomach like myself, I would expect the next 45 days to be a little wheezy feeling. All right. I would expect a lot of noise, a lot of Hayes Fawcett graphics, whether people are leaving, whether people are decommitting, committing. It's going to be a wild ride here, which makes it fun if you enjoy that kind of thing. But it should be enjoyable to watch. So be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, because you don't want to miss it when we do drop a video about it. And if you are, obviously, you enjoy watching me cry, you'll be tuned in and let me know how much of a loser I am. So I know you guys will already do that anyways, but turn the bell on so you don't miss it and you're on time for it.